All right then, so here I am with coffee in hand. Throat giving me a hard time as usual, but hey, that's not not your problem. It's not really much of a problem for me, actually. I'm so used to it. Anyway, had an interesting time this morning. I watched a video yesterday where a guy on YouTube with a roulette channel was pitching very hard for a strategy which basically involves using it's a progression, but it's kind of a I don't know. I don't know exactly how I would describe it, but the basic idea is that you follow whatever came up last between black and red, because that's what it always is about. And if you lose, you add 2 units, and if you win, you add 1 unit, and you have a win target, which I approve of, and the win target is 5 units. And as soon as you reach your win target, then you drop back to your minimum and start over. So in that sense, there's some similarity between what Greg is pitching and what I'm doing, but it's not a huge similarity. There's just, I mean, the fact that there's progressive betting in there, I think, gives it a better chance than random betting. But anyway, I ran up a model with 25,000 spins in it, and the result of that was that both strategies, most of the time, since they're up against a minus 2.7% house advantage in single zero roulette, both strategies frequently got their asses kicked. And of course, what I have to say about that is there's no way that I would ever put real money on the table against a negative expectation of almost 3%. I mean, that's just silly. But I was intrigued by it because I thought, okay, what I really like, when I'm playing in a real casino, is to be able to bounce from game to game. So if I start getting heat or discomfort or whatever at one game, I can move to another, and then to another, and then but eventually come back to if the money gets really hairy, come back to a game with as low a negative expectation as I possibly can, which would be either blackjack, although blackjack has scared the crap out of me just lately, either blackjack or baccarat. But I love to play craps. I love to play the fielded craps because the appeal there is the same as the appeal with blackjack, where you can get a double payout without risking any extra money. So if you land, if the dice come up 2 or 12, used to be 12 would be 3x, but now it's mostly 2. 2 is certainly 2x, and that's great as long as the money's on the low side. But once you get into serious money, then it's time to look for the game that has a low as possible house advantage. Anyway, enough of that. What the hell happened just then? Oh, I think we just pushed, didn't we? Oh, it's another double down for the tie. Sorry, push. Okay. Oh, look, dealer's catch. I like that. So now we go to 125, and we hit that. Oops, bust by 1. So we repeat that, and we fall back to the minimum. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong about that. Oh no, that's right. No, we had 100, but I just put 25 out. Sorry, I'm just thinking, what? 75? But of course, with the if I clear that, then I go back to the 100. So no, that's all right. That's okay. So we made the 100, which is the target. Double for the push. Where are we at? We need 51 second. Another dealer's catch. Repeat it. Yeah, the thing with that roulette thing is you know, there's merit to it in the short term. And Greg has this thing on his channel where he says, well, look at that, we turned that around, didn't we? We made our target of $250 or whatever it was in the space of about 30 minutes, something like that. And, you know, in the short term like that, that's great, you know. But you can't put up those short-term wins as proof of anything, because, you know, it's the long term that counts. It's the long term that kicks your ass, you know. So I do have a problem with presentations like that, because it's just misleading, you know. It's just not really right. Was that a 51? So I think that's a repeat, isn't it? All right, back to the min. And so 25,000 spins, I think, is probably enough to tell us if it's got any merit or not. And I'm going to put a little presentation up on the Practice Makes Profit channel, just to demonstrate what I'm talking about, because it sounds like so much, you know, fluff and flum and flammer and flooble, whatever. So the best thing to do is to put something up to explain what I'm talking about. That's a repeat. 51. Oops. 51 second. Oh, did not expect that. So that's a repeat too. That's a double down. That's a lot of work for nothing. That's a double for the tie. That was another dealer's catch, so we're getting a few of those. But you know, I don't object to those. I'm quite happy to suddenly be dealt cards as if I'm the dealer. That's 51 second. That's 2-3 third. 5-3 minimum. Not minimum. Drop. Get it right, man. Jesus. Five is 6-3. 6-3 it is. 1, 2, 3. Three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. Okay. That's minimum. Minimum is the correct thing to say there. Yeah, I'm trying to train myself away from, because for the longest time I would say minimum, you know, when I meant drop, and that was stupid of me, because it's, you know, it's quite obvious. I mean, you know, in Baccarat, for instance, I call the whole thing skip or drop, or skip/drop, you know, so it just makes no sense for me to do that. But sometimes I do shit that don't make sense, so that's part of the package. Oh dear. Okay, so now, so that was what, 1, 2. So now we're on 3-2 drop. 4-2. I think that better be a doodly push. Oh dear, that was unlucky. 6-2, because we lost 2 there. 7-2. 8-2. Another try. Oh dear. 10-2. And so endeth the dealer catches, for me at least. That's 11-2, isn't it? Oh, there we go. 11-2. That's rather pathetic, really. I mean, 2 against 11, but I should bump that up. I did it that way, and that made me mad. Now that's 15-8, because we lost 4 there. 23-16, so 2.5, 1.5 third. Oh, bugger me. 4, 1.5, and drop. The drop has to be 1,000. 4, 1.5. Oh dear. 5, 1.5. 4 1.5. This has suddenly got hard, hasn't it? 2.5. 3. Oh! 5.5. 6. But I can't make that bet. So we're plus 725 on one side and minus 10,000 on the other. All of this makes sense when you think about it. And I better print that, I guess. So I mean, everything I do is verifiable and recorded and carefully double checked in case I'm messing up, and I do from time to time. Okay, so now we're going to go to Baccarat, and I've got to make another. Yeah, my email up there is on the website anyway, so on the channel I should say. Other Baccarat sessions. Sorry you've got to be along with this, but you know, you can fast forward more than I can do. It's Father's Day, and I've heard from one of my kids, but only sort of like in passing. He was sending me a message about something else, and I said, oh, by the way, happy American Father's Day. Well, of course, in this country, in the UK now, we're so bloody Americanized with the 51st state, and have been actually for nearly 100 years, I think. But anyway, I don't really mind that. If it's what people want, then it's fine. That's what I just said to Simon. Okay, so we're going to play Baccarat. And the bet is 5.5, 6. I think third, but I could be wrong about that. I forgot to notice. Anyway, we could be going into really tricky territory here, but as it is, we're walking up to a high limit Baccarat table and betting 6 grand. 5.5, 6. So that's 12, 12 dropping, because that's the third bet. So 12, 12 is a drop to 2,500. Basically what I go for is a fifth of the maximum bet, or the required, you know, the proper bet. So 12 is basically no, have I got that wrong? No, I think I'm supposed to be going 5, aren't I? Oh bloody hell. So it's 12.5, my goodness. Okay, now we're on 7.8. So what we need, think positive people, we need a player win. We didn't get it, did we? 15, 16. So this is where the big bankroll comes in, isn't it? 15, 16. Oh dear. 31, 32 is the last. Oh, that's a bitch. Ah, well, this is going to be a test. This one, isn't it? 31, 32. Yeah, that's third. So that's 63, 32. But we need to bet. So the drop is 7. So 63, 32. Let me write that down, or I'm going to lose it. 63, 32. Okay, so we take 7 off that, so we're on 56, 32. A lot of clicking needed here because it doesn't have any high. $56.88, and now we're at 50, so we're in trouble now. So this, you better stick with this one because this is going to be a bitch. 56.32, so that's 88 max. Oh boy. 138 max. 88 max again. 38 40 I think will be enough. You know, I mean, lots of people will look at these and say, well, that doesn't prove anything. But all I'm about is showing you the numbers, you know, put into action. So 38.40 is where we're at right now. And we're out. Okay? So we lost, on the blackjack table, we lost 4,275. And here we're 8,000 ahead. And I'm not saying that everybody should bet like this, because hardly anybody can afford to bet like this. But I'm trying very hard, and have been for years, to demonstrate to people that if you go into any of these games without a viable strategy and a huge amount of money behind you, then you are screwed. You will not win. You might win short term, you might have lots of excitement, but in the end you are going to get your ass kicked. You're going to lose your money. So you must have a bankroll which is at the very least 1,000 times your minimum bet. And here, I mean, I've gone above that. I mean, I'm not sure where I was at the worst point, but I was certainly sort of like nudging towards 130,000 at risk at any given time. And of course, you know, now I'm going to go back to the minimum, which you could not do at the same table, more than likely, after betting 50,000 and 40,000 and blah 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 blah, you know. Yeah, 88.50 we were at one point, weren't we? So that's 140,000 out on the table, you know, essentially, because I've got the loss, the total loss to date on the one hand, and I've got the value of the bet that's out on the table added to that. So that's how you figure out, you know, what your exposure is. You can't sort of say, well, I didn't lose it, therefore I wasn't exposed. It's a matter of what's at risk, you know. So you must do, and that's the kind of numerical precision which I've been aiming for all these years, you know, because people come out with the most amazing statements on these, particularly now on YouTube, and I'm sort of saying, well, that's bollocks. That is absolute nonsense. But hey, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, and the message I want people to at least think about is use your money for something useful if you can't afford to win. And you have to have a lot of money behind you to make you relatively invincible to the house edge at games of chance. And there we're in a situation where, you know, we went through what, one loss, one win, 3 losses, 1 win, 2 losses, and then we had 3 wins in a row, which got us out of trouble. Normally we don't need 3 wins in a row, but this time we did because we hit the limit, you know, and that's exactly how it works all the time. So, you know, there's a lesson in all of these things. And no, I'm not saying that, you know, everybody who's got a spare $250,000 should go and risk it at the blackjack, baccarat, roulette or whatever tables. No, I'm not saying that. What I am trying to get across is it is foolish to bet randomly against random outcomes, and it is equally foolish to bet with a very, very, very large bankroll if you don't have a viable plan. A viable plan on its own will not save you if your bankroll is not big enough to take care of itself. If you have to protect your bankroll constantly, stepping back after a big loss and starting over, then you are going to lose that bankroll. It's as simple as that. I mean, it is absolutely going to happen. And I got my friend my baccarat freak friend in California. I'm not saying he's a freak. I mean, he's very much into baccarat, but he sounds to me like a really nice guy. But you know, he's going at baccarat, big money baccarat, with at most 60,000. I don't believe that's enough. I've told him several times. I don't believe if you've got a bankroll that needs protection and your bankroll isn't big enough to get the job done. You know, but he doesn't have to listen to me. It's his money, and I say that to everybody. Your money, your choice. You know, I mean, have at it, people. Anyway, what was that last thing? We lost that one, so let's go off again. And as usual, I'm talking too much, but as usual, I don't care. My channel, my choice. Your money, your choice. Right? What the hell was that? Oh, I think now we're at... Oh, it must be at... Right. Yeah, 1, 2, third. 3, 2 drop. 3, 2 it is. Doink, doink. 1, 2. 3, 4. 7, 8. We're off again. Excuse me, 15, 8, drop. 12, 8. 2016. Oh, come on. Oh, I could have done that with 500s, couldn't I? 2016. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're out again. Yeah, all these you know, sort of fancy frilly little systems, strategies, can't lose, blah blah blah, and they say 99.8% win rate and all that sort of thing. Doesn't mean a bloody thing unless it's tested against tens of thousands of outcomes. They don't do that. These people don't do that. And Greg, I mean, Greg says, well, I've run the numbers and I'm satisfied that it's a really good strategy. Well, what were your numbers, man? You know, what was it, 200, 500, 1,000, 10,000? I mean, you know, tell us about it. I mean, if he were up there, you know, touting something and saying, well, I've run this against 25,000 outcomes and it really did well, then he's got something to pitch to his subscribers. But if he's not doing that, then he doesn't. 1, 2. 3, 2, drop. 3, 2, tis. Yeah, what I do is if the drop win is only 100, then I don't take it off the down. If it's more than 100, then I take the whole lot off the down. Okay, so 3, 2, and now 3, 2 it is, and now it's 1, 2. It just means that we boost the turnaround win just a little bit here and there, you know. Double for the loss. Oh, my coffee's getting cold. Excuse me. Oh, it's bloody good coffee. It's not too bad, lukewarm, actually. I am a coffee nut. I have like 2 buckets usually first thing in the morning. This is not first thing in the morning. It's actually mid-afternoon, but I got all tied up examining Greg's wild claims, and that's a repeat, isn't it? Okay, minimum. And these things take a while, you know. I mean, you have to put some effort in, and that's, you know, that's why, you know, with this strategy, you'll have to walk, you'll have to think, you'll have to rein yourself in when your instinct is to go, oh, to hell with this, I'm going to put a big bet out. I mean, you watch Mr. Handpay, he's bloody amazing. Every so often he goes, blah! and pushes everything out on the table. Well, of course, the money he's making from Google, he can afford it. Although he just told me that, no, he didn't tell me. It was on one of his videos, one of his recent videos, where he's saying, I don't make very much money. There's not a lot of money in this world. You know, I am dubious about that claim, because he plays like a prat, and therefore he must be getting money from somewhere else to enable him to play like a prat. Where am I? Got to repeat that one. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be talking and playing, but okay. The third bet is 3. And we're out again. +1 for the win. Double for the tie. Ouch! Double for the tie. And we're out. Oh no, that should have been 125 actually, but never mind. Double for the loss. Repeat. Minimum. And anybody who has doubts about this strategy, it's easy enough to follow. It's easy enough to learn. I mean, it's so bloody simple. It's almost embarrassing. You know, just try it. That's all I can say to you. Try it. You get a free go at this amazing platform for a week. That's enough time to assess whether it works or not. 51 second. 2, 3 third. That's already a turnaround, so we leave that alone. 5, 3 drop. I keep wanting to say minimum. So 5, 3 it is. That was the win trigger. Now it's 2, 3. Now it's 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alexa, stop. Now it's 11, 12. What we're trying to do is to have as many turnaround bets as we can before we pull back. So we're on 11, 12 now, and we would appreciate a player win, please. Thank you very much. Because turnarounds are what we need, you know, and we need to win back our losses as quickly as we possibly can in fewer bets than it took us to get into trouble in the first place. This is all stuff that I need to put into a kind of a preamble that just goes on every video. The only reason I'm a little reluctant to do that is right now I just drop these, you know, I record these things and I drop them straight onto the channel with no editing. That's a sort of a middle job that I can do without, because it is really fiddly, as a lot of you I'm sure will know. Double for the loss. Repeat. But I want to put up a kind of a preamble which just, you know, that covers everything, because I'm repeating myself all the time. It's 2, 3 is third. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Out again. +1 for the win. 51 second. Repeat it. And we're out. Double for the loss. 1, 2 third. 3, 2 drop. 4, 2. 4, 2 it is. Uh-oh. Okay, so it's 4, 2. I'm going to do another one. 4, 2 times 100, and it is the... Oh. Four, 2, and it's 1. It's the first bet. Okay, well that's a bit mystifying. I'm a little bit flummoxed here, but don't worry, I flummox quite easily. which is why when I'm playing in the casino I do my best not to talk to anybody. Okay, save that shoe and start another one. Pay attention, man. Jeez. Alright, so we're on 4-2 after coming out of the drop, right? Now we're on 2-3, 1, 2, 3. And thank you very much, we're out of that. Okay, back to the min. Double for the loss. 1, 2, third. Thank you. We only made 125, but we're happy with that. 100 is the target if the bet is 100 or more. 75 is the target if the bet is 75 or less, right? Double for the tie. +1. +1. +1. We don't go above 5, remember? So now we'll repeat that. Okay, now we'll repeat it again because we only got 1, 1, 2, 5. Now we're out. Back to the minimum. Double for the loss. Repeat. Minimum. Double for the loss. Repeat. Double for the tie. We're out. Back to the min. Double for the loss. Repeat. Back to the min. +1 for the win. +1. +1. Repeat that one. 2, 3. Oops. Go away. Does that get us out? I think it does, doesn't it? 2, 3. Yeah. We're 18 wins to 8 losses, so no complaints about this shoe, I tell you. Double for the loss. 1, 2, third. But it's the flow that matters, you know. We're not much concerned about whether there are more player wins than banker wins. What we're concerned with is grouping, flow, pattern. Pattern is the word, right? +1 for the win. Yeah, +1 for the win. 51 second. 2, 3 third. 5, 3 drop. 5, 3 it is. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 5, 6. Just as many turnaround bets as we can make. 11, 12. We're up there again. There we are. And this is not magic, and it's not sleight of hand, and it's not crookery, fakery, fraud, whatever. It's just what you see in front of you. And if you're serious about beating these games, and if you have the resources, and if you have the attitude that you need, and if you're prepared to stay sober, because that's very important, then you stand a chance. But do it yourself, practice it yourself. This is why I've called this channel Practice Makes Profit, and I really mean that. So we're at 51 now. Oops. I do that quite often. It just doesn't catch, you know. Okay, 2-3 third, and we're out. Double for the loss. Repeat. Minimum. +1 for the win. +1. +1. +1. And we don't double those. And we go for that again, because did we get 125? Did we win 100? No, we didn't. We didn't win a max, so we try again. Okay, now we're happy. So back. Double for the tie. 51 second. 2-3 third. 5-3 drop. 6-3. 6-3 it is. 1, 2, 3. 9-6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are we going up there again? 5, 6, 11. We're back to 11, 12 again. Damn it. And we're out of it again. Yeah, short-term strategies. You know, you can see all sorts of things that work in the short term. I mean, you know, and they look great. I remember years and years ago there was a guy who ran a gambling newspaper. It was called Gamblers Weekly, I think, in California. He had an office in one of those industrial estates, sort of out in the middle of bugger all. And he was a very interesting guy. He was telling me that that he did tuition trips to Las Vegas, and he would teach people how to play, how to bet sort of sensibly and safely, and all the rest of it. And he says time and again it would be ridiculous. I mean, people would say, "God, you're a genius! God, this is fantastic! This is the most amazing thing in the world." And he said they'd be saying this after a dozen bets. And yeah, we're ahead, but you know, dark times are coming. That's always the way it is, you know. I think we have to repeat that. And we're out again, aren't we? Yeah, we're out again. Alright. Shoe running out now. Double for the loss. Alright. Well, I'm not gonna chase any of this lot. We're on a long video here, so my apologies for that, but you've got your speed button, you've got your mute button, you've got your all kinds of bloody buttons, none of which I have. I have to put up with myself in real time, and I have to listen to myself too. You should feel very sorry for me. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we did by way of wins over losses. This one's going to look good. Remember, we started out, I think, with a bet of 7,000. So that's going to skew the results somewhat. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that old guy. He was so funny. He sort of had a three-piece, a crumpled or rumpled three-piece suit. And he had a name like Goldstein, or it was a Steen of some description anyway. Nice fella. Very knowledgeable about gambling, but clearly addicted. So this is number 796, and it's 150. Wow, DDJ, bloody hell! Over 31, and 148,950 over 35. Alexa, 158,300 over 31.
158,300 divided by 31 is approximately 5,106.4516.
148,950 over 35.
148,950 divided by 35 is approximately 4,255.7143.
5,106 divided by 4,256.
5,106 divided by 4,256 is approximately 1.1997.
Well, that was actually much better than I was expecting, to be honest. Let's capture this. Oh, God. So I was wrong about the, it was more than I thought. More than 132,000, because you've got to count the value of the winning bet in there to get your total. And where is it? It's down here. So that was, oh. What I'm looking for is the match, and I'm not getting it. Huh. Not quite sure why that is. I'm plodding on here because I'd really like to know exactly what the bets were. Can you see these drop downs? I don't know. I keep asking you and asking myself that question, and I forget to actually look into it. Oh, here we go. All right. So we won 4,000 there, and then we went back to 25. Okay, so we had, sorry, 4,000, 40,000. So it's actually 172,000 up shit creek is where we were at. But the strategy came through, you know. And yeah, you know, you can say, well, oh, it's ridiculous to risk that kind of money. Yes, it is. It's ridiculous to risk any money at these games. But what I'm trying to show people is, don't do it if you don't have a shitload of money and a really good, viable, proven plan. And, you know, my audience is in the dozens, if I'm lucky, whereas people who throw money around like drunken sailors, losing hand over fist, are getting viewers in the hundreds of thousands. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not complaining about that. There just aren't enough people who care about the numbers behind games of chance to be a big audience for me. But if I can just get my ideas across to a few dozen people who then stop losing and you know, do better things with their money, I'm going to be well pleased. 120% I said, didn't I? I'm really holding up this video, but what can I tell you? It's part of the package. Sorry. I think I said that before, didn't I? Let's have a look at this one. I think this one is a bit more sensible. We went down. Not at all. So this is back to the real world, you know. But everybody who says things like, oh, they won't let you play like that, they won't let you bet like that, they've got no bloody choice, because, you know, if you're thrown out of one casino or politely asked to leave or whatever, or you know, all of those things, you just go somewhere else. It's that simple. Anyway, 6275. Oh, and there was this guy called, what was his name? Christopher Mitchell, Christopher something or other. God, he was a lying bastard. But he copied my whole sort of thing. So it's like, yeah, well, I lost this much in so-and-so casino, so I just picked up my chips and I moved over to so-and-so casino. And then I lost this much there, and so I just went to this casino, and then look at this, I won, you know, 27,375. And I'm sort of thinking, you bloody lying bastard, you know. It was quite obvious that he'd caught one of my, because I did get a couple of comments from him saying, hey, this is great, man, and all that sort of thing, and he just stole it. And, you know, yeah, and he had sort of sheets, he had a great big sort of easel and massive sheets of like butcher paper or whatever, something like that, with these great huge numbers on them written with a big marker and the whole bit. And I'm thinking, you cheeky sod. Anyway, he was also banned from YouTube, like Steve Will Do It, who was an absolute abomination. Alexa, 6,275 divided by...
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Oh, fiddlesticks. Alexa, 6,000...
I don't know that one.
What is the matter with you? Alexa, 6,275 divided by 39.
6,275 divided by 39 is approximately 160.8974.
3,800 over 27.
3,800 divided by 27 is approximately 140.7407.
161 over 141.
161 divided by 141 is approximately 1.1418.
Okay, that was puny. 114%. I'm not happy with that. But hey, I'm happy with the win.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, Alexa, do shut up. Okay. My God, this is my longest ever rant. 114%. There we go. And because of that horrible exposure that we had back there, I mean, now we're in great shape. You know, we've got tons of money in the pot, and that's basically our mission, is to keep growing the bankroll. And what I've always said to people is, you know, when you win, take half the money out, put it in your back pocket, you know, hide it away, whatever. Go out and buy yourself whatever you need, and you know, but always add at least half to the bankroll so that it keeps growing and growing and growing. You know, and the hope is that you know, as the bankroll gets stronger and stronger, you'll need to dip into your own money, which is the half or whatever that you took out of each win and put away for use on something other than betting. You know, that you won't have to access any of that, but once in a while you might have to, but that would mean that the bankroll isn't big enough. So you know what I mean? I mean, you've got to get to a certain point. So let's just for the sake of example, let's say that you decide to go to Las Vegas with $250,000. And to get that into context, $250,000 is what a lot of high rollers will put on each one of 6 circles at a blackjack table, because they think that multiple bets out on the table are a great idea, because if the dealer busts, you win all of them. The trouble is that the arithmetic doesn't work like that. You will lose if you're betting. If you're flat betting, it doesn't matter if you have 100 bets out there or 1,000. The numbers still apply. You know, you are facing a house edge which is against you, however much you bet, however many bets you place. You know, so their theory is just utter nonsense. And I did read about Don Johnson, who is one of the most talked about winners at blackjack, and it turns out that no, he wasn't counting cards. What he was doing was that every time he lost 100,000, he would get 250,000 back, because he had a deal where, you know, if he lost X amount, they would rebate half. And so what he did was manipulate the rebates or reductions or whatever to make his money, because he would put that into his bankroll, and you know, when he had really bad days, he got half his losses back. And if you apply that, and I haven't done it yet, I keep meaning to, but if you apply that, for instance, to one of my models and say, well, okay, over a certain point, the loss is halved, which is essentially what happens there, then you see a very different picture in terms of percentages in the player's favour. It changes everything. So that the casino in Atlantic City that allowed him that concession was just, I mean, it must have been one of Donald Trump's, because anybody running a casino doing a deal like that has to be a fool, a complete idiot, looking forward to bankruptcy, because you can do that. I mean, with mine, if I were to say, okay, well, what I want to do is, and I can do it easily enough, it's just that I just don't get around to it, but you can pretty easily create, put into the model a little kind of like adjustment of the algorithm, which says, okay, well, if I lose this much, then I get half back, and by golly, boom, and I haven't got the exact figures because I just know it's common sense. It's just common sense. Anyway, that was absolute idiocy on the part of the casino, which means, of course, you've got to admire Don Johnson, who's not the same Don Johnson as the actor, of course. The blackjack Don Johnson, I think, is an engineer by calling, career, trade, whatever. Whereas the other guy does bugger all except, movies where he has a crocodile, an alligator named Elvis living on a boat. I mean, how stupid was that? Jeepers creepers. Anyway, enough of me. All right, so I thought I might as well tack this on to the end of an already overlong video where pattern betting really had to sort of like dig deep to get out of trouble. Let me first of all say that this shot that we're looking at right now is misleading, because yes, pattern betting, which is the green one, the one below the roulette layout there, 470,401 over the course of 25,000 spins, 4.6% of its action retained, because the action is what really matters. The sum total of all bets, win or lose, is your action or your churn, and your win or loss is expressed as the percentage of that. And what we have here is up the top there, Greg's system, which he proved to be successful, loses 2.14 million, minus 4.1% of its action. The actual house edge, doing things his way, is just wins and losses, is 3.7%. So his strategy, or it's not his, he says it's from some guy who he's in touch with, plus an Aussie Pete, I think he mentions in the video. But anyway, he did his little thing online where he ran it for about 30 minutes, something like that, made $250 and said, okay, well, so it works, And I could say the same thing about pattern betting. And let me say one thing very clearly, and that is that I would not apply pattern betting to a 2.7% house edge under any circumstances. I might piddle around at the low end, if I don't have to put out too much money, if not too much is at risk. But as soon as things started to bite down, to get even close to the crap that you will have witnessed if you watched the early bulk of this particular demonstration, I would have been long gone. I'd be off to Baccarat probably, because Baccarat it's easier to bet big amounts, and it's more laid back, and I think it's as boring as hell. But counting your winnings makes up for that to a great extent. So that's what we're looking at. Now, what I can do here is I'll just set it again, hit the recalc button for another 25,000 random outcomes, and ka-dunk. Look at that. Pattern betting loses 12.6 million, or minus 2.4%, against an expected minus 2.6%. And what's his face up there loses 1.6 million, because he has a lot, he bets a lot less, to be honest, and he loses minus 2.5%. And what I'm trying to get across to you here is that it doesn't matter what you do with roulette, you are going to face a house advantage of about 2.7%. It doesn't matter what you do. Stand in your head, I don't know, say prayers before each bet, whatever you do, that's how it's going to be. So let's just do a few here and see if we can get another green number down the bottom. Not quite so bad underneath the roulette layout there. We might catch another win if we're lucky. There we go. There we got 11.8% against Greg's 1.9 million loss. A loss of 3.2%, notice, whereas the expectation is minus 3.1%. I managed, or pattern betting managed, to go plus 11.8% against the same minus 3.1. And then we'll do another go around. Well, he lost 177,000 and I won 276,000. My action was 2.5 times his, but my win was 2.5 times his. I should have lost 1.2%, blah, 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 blah. And then another horror story. I mean, I just wouldn't play this. This is silly, But when somebody makes the kind of statements that Greg makes on his channel, where he says, this is blah, 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 and I stake my reputation on this, and I do, he's entitled to do that, and people can take it or leave it. I get that, absolutely. In the same way that people can look at what I'm doing here on my channel and say, well, that's bollocks, and walk away, and go off and lose all their money doing things the way they've done it for years. That's entirely their right. Anyway, I'll do 2 more just for the fun of it. Uh-oh. And there we got another little win. It's all about the patterns. If the patterns fall right, then boom, we're doing great. And one more. And another decent one. Not fantastic, but okay. So there you have it. I mean, and like I always say, take it or leave it. And no offence is meant to Greg, who's got a lovely kind of like positive personality, lots of enthusiasm, and he's building his audience pretty fast. But I'm sorry, if somebody says to me, this is a terrific strategy, you should try this, that I need to check it out. And I've got 25,000 spins here, and every time you recalc here, you will see a house edge in the top left up there, or right next to the numbers, on the green line there, or the red line above the layout, which says that, close enough. 3.2%, minus 3.2% is close enough to minus 2.6%, not to matter a damn, But there you have it. So, make of it what you will. Goodbye.